A very good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. We warmly welcome all the eminent and respectable figures who are joining with us today physically and through the virtual platform. It is indeed encouraging to see that all of you have got together to be part of this knowledge sharing experience on International HR Summit 2021.
The International HR Summit 2021, organized by the Department of Human Resource Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies of University of California for the 4th consecutive year. And ladies and gentlemen, this time we will take you through the theme of HRM in times of crisis. In addition, we will also take you through the academic convention, the undergraduate confab, the industry academia nexus, and then postgraduate caucus, bringing all our valuable stakeholders into one platform.
So, dear ladies and gentlemen, we invite you all to take part in this academic experience to broaden your knowledge horizons at International HR Summit 2021. To mark the commencement of our sessions, let us pay your respect to the university anthem.
Desakitu gosa urumaya suratina siat suwanda vidu kirana bedadena sarasandaki vidulakara udagina kalaniya sarasavi mata kalaniya sarasavi mata Sayuravi Vedanuanadina Satsiluminavi Isuru Sagalana Dare Jiva Ulpadavanno Sindena Kalaniya Sarasavi Mata Kalaniya Sarasavi Mata Siya Desakitu Gosa Urumaya Suratina Siat Suwanda Vidu Kirana Bedadena Sarasandaki Vidulakara Udagina Kalaniya Sarasavi Mata Kalaniya Sarasavi Mata Sita Surya Tivi Turunana Guna Yugayan Yugayat Hayata Tilinatara Harupirivara Sahamululova Sarasana Kalaniya Sarasavi Mata Vidu Ambare Babaleva Siya Desakitu Gosa Urumaya Suratina Siat Suwanda Vidu Kirana Bedadena Sarasandaki Vidulakara Udagina Kalaniya Sarasavi Mata Vidu Ambare Babaleva
Thank you. To give a red carpet welcome to all of you, may I take the pleasure of requesting Chair, International HR Summit 2020, Head, Department of Human Resource Management, University of Kelaniya, Dr. Nadira Janadari, to warmly welcome the gathering.
So thank you, Rasika. Good morning to all of you. So, on behalf of the Department of Human Resource Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, I would like to welcome the Chief Guest, Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, the Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. P.N.D. Fernando, the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, the keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Subramaniam Sriramalu, the Director of Postgraduate Studies Unit, College of Business, University Uttara Malaysia. The guest of honor, Professor Dr. Hanuman Prasad, and Director and Chairman, Faculty of Management Studies, Mohanlal Sokeda University, Udaipur, India. The deans of other faculties, heads of the departments, the distinguished panelists, administrative members of the university, academic and non-academic staff members, valued industry partners, and all the invitees of the event for the International HR Summit 2021. The Department of Human Resource Management of the University of Kelaniya is determined to present the International HR Summit 2021 with the theme HRM Crisis of Times. The time is it memorable and remarkable for our department, as we have been stepped one step forward since we are conducting an International HR Summit on a virtual platform, which is a novel experience for all of us. As I mentioned earlier, this International HR Summit is conducted under the theme HR in Times of Crisis, a contemporary theme that best suits in a situation where the whole world struggles to adjust and adapt to new normality with this COVID-19 pandemic situation. Moreover, in this stage of highly competitive globalization, higher education also has assumed new dimensions. One such output is this International HR Summit 2021, which provides a platform for a wider audience of academia and practitioners. Also, this offers an opportunity to ponder comprehensive dialogues among scholars and practitioners to share the explore and new heights. Accordingly, the International HR Summit comprises 4 distinguished sessions, namely the Academia Convention, the Undergraduate Confab, the Postgraduate Caucus, and the Industry Academia Nexus, which encourage all the scholars, practitioners, researchers, professionals, and students to share their inventions, research findings, and practices for enriching sustainable HR. Well, organized an International HR Summit of this extent would not be possible without the dedicated and committed untimed efforts of many individuals. The credit of the success should be shared among each person behind it. So I would like to mention the efforts of the organizing committee presided over by the International HR Summit, co-chair Dr. Prabhashini Vijayavanta, the joint secretaries, Mr. Tarindavira Singha, and Mrs. Rushna Preena, the treasurer, Ms. Virangi Mendis, The project conveners, Ms. Madhavi Gunasekara and Ms. Edward Rebecca, and the members of the working committee of the HR Summit. So while welcoming all of you again to the International HR Summit 2021, and I cordially invite all of you to witness the grand event organized by the Department of HRM. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that warm welcome of all of our physical and virtual distinguished guests. So, as one of the key faculties of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies of University of Kelaniya, our faculty focuses more on to strengthen and energize the platform where the knowledge is created. As the youngest faculty of the University of Kelaniya, the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies has come a very, very long way with a strong guiding light in all our initiatives and in all our blooming activities. There is a strong shadow behind us. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies of University of Kelaniya, Dr. Narada Fernando. Sir, I cordially invite you to address the gathering.
Very good morning to all of you. Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, Vice Chancellor, University of Kelaniya, Dr. Janadari, Head, Department of Human Resource Management, and as well as our keynote speaker, Associate Professor Subramaniam Sri Ramal, and the guest of honor, Professor Hanuman Prasad, and professors and staff members, all the guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to address you all in this morning in the International HR Summit organized by the Department of Human Resource Management, University of Kelaniya. So in Kelaniya University, we are having 7 faculties, among them management faculty, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, doing great service with academia as well as combining industry with all the activities. And I want to appreciate the endeavors taken by the HRM department by combining all the undergraduate education, so then the postgraduate education as well as the industry in a single platform to discuss about issues, so what we are facing at present. Because the last decade, if we take, it came up with a lot of challenges to HR. So that may be artificial intelligence, so that may be gig economy, or even that finally it came with the pandemic situation. So all these things gave some more opportunities as well as more challenges for HR. So that may be how you are going to organize your human resource in organizations. So that may be private, that may be public. So according to research results, they say more than 60% they want to work from home. So with this pandemic situation. So with the gig economic situation, so more and more opportunities are going for this temporary basis. So that may be freelance writers or freelance workers, maybe independent contractors. So all the area dedicated for HR that is changing and challenging. So in that situation, it is the high time to discuss about the options available or the new methods, how we can combine this work from home or gig economy or maybe independent contractors in the work environment. So in that sense, I feel this is the best time, and this conference will discuss about these matters in detail, and it will provide more and more spaces for these challenges. And once again, I want to congratulate all the members of the Department of Human Resource Management for organizing this event. And at the same time, so we are going with the quality standard. That is what we are here as the University of Kelaniya. And in the faculty, we have obtained the membership of ASCSB, one of the golden qualifications in management education. So all these things come with the dedication of staff members and the support of Vice Chancellor. So once again, we want to thank Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva for the dedicated support given for all the activities and participating with her busy schedule. And at the same time, head of the department and all the conference co-chairs, organizers, secretaries, and all the members for organizing this event. And I wish all the very best to the conference. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you so much for your valuable thoughts. In thriving every activity in our university, there is a guiding light behind all of us. She is none other than Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, the Vice Chancellor, University of Kelaniya. Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva earned her first degree in medicine from the University of Colombo and went on to earn her master's in medical parasitology from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine in 1989. She earned her Doctor of Medicine degree specializing in medical parasitology from Colombo University's Postgraduate Institute of Medicine in 1994. She has lectured at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Kelaniya since 1993. And also, she has been the Professor of Parasitology there since 2003. Professor Nilanthi De Silva, a well-accomplished scholar, has over 60 publications in peer-reviewed scientific journals. The main focus of her research has been on soil-transmitted health-bearing infections, particularly their epidemiology, treatments, and control. Professor Nilanthi De Silva has served in various capacities in World Health Organization working groups and committees over the years. She has been newly appointed to the prestigious position of the Vice Chancellor, University of Kelaniya in 2020 and has been spreading the institution towards academic excellence since then. Further, Professor Nilanthi De Silva has received the Top 50 Professional Career Woman Award in Educator category in 2020. Last but not the least, Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva is one of the 15 Sri Lankan professors among the top Sri Lankan researchers who contribute the 2% of the world researchers compiled by Stanford University. Dear Madam, this humble invitation is to you to address the gathering.
Good morning, everybody. Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, Dr. Narada Fernando, Head of the Department, Dr. Janadari, distinguished invitees, keynote speakers, participants, foreign and local. Indeed, it is a great pleasure for me to speak a few words this morning, and thank you very much for that rather lengthy but kind introduction. It is true that I have tried, it's now about 6 months since I started working as the Vice Chancellor of this university, and that has given me ample time to witness for myself the energy and the activity that goes on in this faculty. It's not the youngest faculty in our university. It's now 25 years old, a little bit younger than my own faculty of medicine, but I can see that there is a tremendous amount of activity, energy, buzz going on in the faculty in many different ways at undergraduate level, at postgraduate level, and in engaging with industry. With regard to HR in particular, I see that, or not that I see, I think it is my personal view that you can have the best buildings in the world, you can have the best technology, but if you don't have the right human resources, whatever that venture is not going to work. It's not going to be a success, whether it is in the private sector or in the state sector, in a university, whatever. Human resources, I see, are at the heart of any kind of service that needs to be delivered to people. And regardless of whether we have artificial intelligence coming on board, what other changes take place, I think as humans, as people who work in a community, in a society, in a country, human resources will continue to be of utmost importance. And therefore, I see this HR management department as something that adds a lot of value to what this university delivers. And I'm really glad to hear that this event combines undergraduate, postgraduate, as well as industry partners and other stakeholders, because that gives a holistic global view of what HR can do and should do. I hope that everybody who is participating in this event, I noticed that there are over 200 participants already, and I was told that some nearly 900 people had actually registered for the event. We find it useful as a platform for sharing new knowledge and information in a time where over the last year, there has been a huge amount of flux and change, so many challenges that we have had to deal with in many different ways, not least of which is related to HR. So I wish everybody all the very best, and I hope you have a successful, I'm sure you will have a very successful day's deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being such an inspiration to us. So, creating and disseminating knowledge. It's something that we've really been triggered into. As one of the most dynamic departments of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, we have been working tirelessly to create such a value addition. So, ladies and gentlemen, like earlier, this time as well, we have brought our newest publications to our department's publications portfolio. Now, I would like to invite the head of the Department of the Human Resource Management, Dr. Nadira Janadari, accompanied by Ms. Virangi Mendes, lecturer of the Department of Human Resource Management, to present our newest publications of the book, HRM in Challenging Environment, the HR Magazine of People Management Review, People Masters Journal 2021, and Calendar Journal of Human Resource Management to our esteemed chief guest. So, madams, I cordially invite to hand over this time's department's publications portfolio to our Vice Chancellor of the University of Kelaniya, Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva. Thank you so much.
Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. We create our wisdom with the unbreakable attempts of creating and disseminating knowledge. This time, the Department of Human Resource Management proudly present the newest publications for our department's publication portfolio. 7th HRM Student Research Symposium, People Masters, Human Resource Management in Challenging Environment, People Management Review. This is the International HR Summit 2021, HRM in Times of Crisis.
Right, it was our department's publications portfolio. And again, I would like to invite the co-chair of this time's International HR Summit 2021, Dr. Prabhashini Vijayawantha, to hand over the department's publications portfolio to the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, Dr. Narada Fernando.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Now, this time is dedicated for the keynote speech by Associate Professor Dr. Subramaniam Sri Ramalu. Dr. Subramaniam Sri Ramalu is an Associate Professor of Organizational Behavior and Leadership. He is a Fellow of Chartered Management Institute, UK. Prior to joining University Utrecht, Malaysia in 2006, Dr. Subramaniam worked for several multinational companies in a managerial capacity. Dr. Subramaniam is a certified professional trainer and a member of Malaysian Institute of Management. He is also a certified trainer of human resource development under the Ministry of Human Resource in Malaysia. Currently, he is the Director of Postgraduate Studies Unit, College of Business, University Utrecht, Malaysia. In recognition for his leadership in academic, he has been admitted as Certified Executive Academic Teaching and Learning Professional by the European Foundation for Management Development. He also attended Global Executive Workshop for Higher Education Management and Administration at Michigan State University, USA. Dr. Subramaniam's research interests include leadership, organizational behavior, and human resource management. To date, he has completed 16 research projects and published more than 60 articles in both local and international journals. Dr. Subramaniam is also serving as an editor board member in several international journals and frequently invited to review articles for reputable journals such as Journal of Global Mobility, International Journal of Cross-Cultural Management, and Journal of Management and Organization. With a great honor, now I would like to invite our keynote speaker of the day, Associate Professor Dr. Subramaniam Ramalu, Professor of Organizational Behavior and Leadership in University Utara, Malaysia to address our eminent event.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ayubawan, Sri Lanka, and very good morning to everyone. It's a great pleasure to join all of you today in this morning for our virtual International HR Summit 2021. And thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizing committee for the invitation, and also to MC just now for the nice introduction. Again, just a little bit about myself before I go into the topic of the day. Basically, I'm a Malaysian citizen, the third generation of Indian origin in Malaysia. And my ancestors are basically from Andhra Pradesh, South India. And when we talk about my connection with Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka is very close to me for several reasons. Among the others, I've been to this beautiful country, your beautiful country, way back in 2013, yeah, when I and my colleagues went for a tour, what I call a program, a promotional tour to Sri Lanka, and we had an opportunity to visit a few universities like University of Moratuwa, University of Peradeniya, Southern Eastern University, and the others. Yeah. So as a result of that, we received 2 batches of MBA students from I think Rajarata University, all right, for a short student exchange program. And further to mention my relationship with Sri Lanka, I know some wonderful people like Dr. Janadari, Dr. Damika. I think he's also with the Kelaniya University, and through them I learned more about the people of Sri Lanka and the culture of Sri Lanka, especially your fighting spirit and your determination to bounce back from difficult times. So this is something I should mention here. Now, coming back to our topic for today, the theme is HRM in times of crisis. All right. So this is a quite a broad topic, if you ask me, and of course, it is a timely topic to discuss now in this difficult time. Well, when we say HRM is something very, I will say, is like an ocean itself. It's not just confined to the 7 to 8 HRM practices that we often know, like recruitment, selection, and etc. But HRM in the context of managing crisis is beyond that. So HRM professionals, HRM, those in HR, you are expected to become a strategic partner in the organization. So you are no longer just doing your operational role or just, I will say, at the tactical level. Yeah? So you are expected to become a strategic partner in the organizations, helping the organization to overcome or manage the crisis, especially now in the current situation where we are dealing with this COVID-19. All right, so when we talk about a crisis, also is something which can be internal to the organization, it can be external to the organization. All right, so as long as it has an impact to your organization, to the people in the organization, I think it is something that worth to pay attention, and we have to come out with relevant plans how we're going to manage this. So that's a little bit introduction about the theme for today, HRM in times of crisis. Okay, I'm gonna start my presentation by sharing this picture, which was taken during a press conference by the former CEO of Nokia, Stephen Eloped, when during his, when he announced that Nokia has been acquired by Microsoft in 2016. He concluded his speech by saying, we didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we lost. So I think all of us, we are familiar, we heard about the downfall of Nokia from top. It was top in the market when we talk about mobile phone, and from a top, and then they are just disappeared, for a while, and then they bounce back later on. But what happened during this period of time is, what attract our attention here is, what do you mean by do nothing? So we really want to know what do you mean by do nothing, because as we know, when they started in in 1990s, they were doing very extremely well, to an extent they have captured almost 50% of the market share of mobile phone. So if we look at the case of Nokia, we realize that there are a lot of internal crisis was going on. It was, the issues has been brewing there, but unfortunately, because of the complacency and leaders who had a poor judgment, so they ended up in a trouble and they are out from the business. So this is one example of what will happen if you fail to contain the crisis, and if you don't have a proper what we call a strategic management, not strategic, crisis management plan, this is what will happen, all right? So, and I will move on with the second example. This is regarding the case of BP, British Petroleum. What happened in year, I think is in 2010, when they spilled the oil from the rig in the Gulf of Mexico. And the statement came out from the CEO during that time is that the Gulf of Mexico is a very big ocean. The amount of volume of oil and dissipation we are putting into is tiny in relation to the total water volume. So if this is the kind of statement, public statement you're gonna give when you are in crisis, right? You're gonna hurt a lot of people. It's not just organization, but also the environmentalists and the others as well. And because of this, what happened? BP has to pay billions of dollars as a compensation and to do the cleanup in that particular Gulf. So this is another example of poor crisis the communication. And in this regard, I think HR should have played a very important role as a spokesperson for the company. So these are some of the examples how a crisis can backfire organizations big time if you don't have a proper crisis management plan. All right. Okay, let's move on by looking into a definition of crisis. When we say crisis, is basically any unexpected event that pose a significant threat to economies, businesses, organizations, and individuals. So I think it's a straightforward kind of definition. And just to share with you that I think you're also aware about this, the world has witnessed 4 major crises so far that has affected the global economy, such as the oil crisis and stock market crash in early 1970s. We are talking about Asian financial crisis later on in 90s, right? And then the shocking terrorist attack, 9/11, followed by global financial crisis. And most recently is the COVID-19. So if you look at the graph I have here, you can see how much it has impacted the GDP growth, the global GDP growth, and you can see how the growth has declined tremendously during these particular events. So COVID-19, we are expecting it's gonna bring more harm. I would say more effect to the world economy, and we yet to see the full brunt of this COVID-19. All right, when we talk about characteristic, I don't want to go into the details of each of the characteristics, but roughly based on the world events I just shared, it looks like it's gonna have high impact. Many events that gonna have high impact, they're gonna cause you that has low probability, meaning that the chances of occurrence might be less, except like those global financial crises. More or less, people are start doing some kind of forecasting that every 5 to 10 years, yeah, you can expect some kind of crisis might take place. But other than that, it's unexpected kind of events, and it is sometimes we can say like a unique. For example, in the case of COVID-19, it took us almost 2 years just to understand what is the nature of this disease. All right. Now, taking COVID-19 as an example of the crisis, right? I think this is a timely example that I want to share here. Now, in one study done by International Labour Organization, all right, they reported that in Q2 of 2020, when they convert the percentage of lost working hours in lost working hours, they said in Q2 of 2020, which is I would say April to June last year, we are talking about loss of almost 400 million full-time jobs. All right, and this was compared with the baseline year of 2019, the Q4 2019. And if you look at the impact, almost all the regions, all the continents are badly impacted. With top in the list is the Americas, and of course we are also, those from Asia also badly impacted because of this. So this is one example, you know, the crisis, what the crisis can you know, bring to the organization, the impact of the crisis. And again, coming back to the role of HR, are we prepared to face this what we call the catastrophic effect of this COVID-19? All right, now another statistics. Basically, this was published by World Economic Forum in their study on COVID-19 risk outlook, a preliminary mapping. Now, they did a survey among a group of what we call risk experts worldwide, and these are the least top 10 worrisome risks for the company in this COVID-19. And after this also, even when we are entering the recovery stage of COVID-19. Now, top in the list, if you see here, is the prolonged recession of the global economy. All right, so this is really worrying us, because although now all the countries all over the world has activated the what we call the vaccination programs, but what we have to pay attention is the after effects of COVID-19, and we are not going to settle down as soon as, you know, once the 70–80% of the world population has been vaccinated. We cannot say we are done, we are safe, then we can move on with our normal life. It's not like that. We are foreseeing like another 3 to 5 years, we're gonna face the consequences of this COVID-19. And some experts saying the worst is yet to come. All right, so these are the things we have to keep in our mind, especially the HR professionals in looking into your various strategies and practices that you have. Right, and again, the cyber attacks also one of the issue that we need to really beef up our security that we have when it comes to cyber attacks, because now we are going online, almost everything, work from home using online platform, and transactions are done online, even the buying also done online. So this is one area where some of the you know, people will take opportunity to launch cyber attacks, and your company can be in a bad shape. All right, and some even are saying that the world got to get prepared ourselves for another global outbreak of COVID-19. I don't know which third wave or fourth wave or fifth wave, and some even predicted using some kind of, I don't know whether we should take this into consideration or not, based on some conspiracy theory. They are saying that there is a possibility of different infectious disease, but this is just, some talk, but we can ignore in this context. But we have to get prepared that this kind of disease might happen in future. So as a whole, you can see we have to start worry about the consequences of COVID-19 in a few years to come. All right. Now let's move on to the types of crises. As I mentioned just now, the crisis can be internal to the organization, or it can be external factors that gonna impact your operation, your business. For example, when you talk about financial crisis, it can be because of the external financial crisis, which is going to have impact on your organization. Or it can be because of your internal issues due to poor governance. Your company did not perform well. It is also kind of financial crisis. And natural disasters basically also can impact your business badly. For example, in the case of Fukushima Daiichi, the nuclear power plant, which damaged, due to the tsunami, I think in 2011, I'm not mistaken. So what happened, the entire area, the locality has to be sealed for cleanup, and the businesses are closed down. So we should expect this kind of things. And the question to HR professionals, HR managers, are you prepared yourself to face all this? Of course, this is unexpected, but you should have a proper what we call a crisis management plan, your contingency plan when you have this kind of issues. Same goes to some other crisis as well. For example, IT or network infrastructure breakdown. We have seen some world's busiest airport was having a problem because of this kind of issues. And we can go on with the list. For example, the death of key employees in the organization. For example, in the case of Apple, they said when Steve Jobs died, the company will enter into some crisis. Yeah, but fortunately, they had a very good what we call a crisis management plan. They have a very good what we call, they anticipate what the preparation they have to do, and they managed to pull through that particular situation. Right. So same goes to employee strikes and riots. All this going to have some impact on your organizations. And recently we have this issue that we need to watch out, which is the pandemic outbreak. COVID-19 is just one example, but in future you might have other disease outbreaks we don't know. So this is the point here. The point here is you need to know the type of crisis that we might face, and are we prepared for that? All right. Okay, let's move into the main focus of my talk here. All right. Although I think I've overshoot. All right. Now let's look at the role of HRM in times of crisis. As I mentioned, you see some of the things we have listed here is related to HR functions, but it's not just that. It's beyond that. For example, in the case of communication, when you are in a crisis, your communication has to be transparent. You have to be honest, and as a custodian of employee welfare, you have to tell them that they are safe. They are safe. The company is taken care. They are taken care. So this will give them some kind of confidence that they are fine, they are good, and they will continue to work with you. And same goes to the policies, guidelines, SOPs. The job of HR to come out with relevant policies, guidelines when you are in the crisis. For example, in the case of COVID-19 worldwide, basically we have seen world has been stopped for a while, especially in March last year, 2020, and people are clueless, don't know what to do. And that applies to HR professionals as well, because you don't know, for example, in the case of the need to work from home, the remote working. So we don't know what kind of policies we should implement, what kind of policy we should develop. So these are the things HR should pay an attention. And again, things like compensation practices, performance management also has changed now in the current scenario, current situation. So many companies has to lay off their employees. So do you need to look into some temporary wage reduction exercise? The executive pay, do you need to cut? Because you need to think about the survival of the company in long run. So by taking this kind of exercise, can you prolong the survival of the company? So these are the things HR should look into. Same goes to performance management. People are working from home and we don't know exactly their productivity. Yeah, of course we trust them, but well, this is one area you have to really look into. And alternative work arrangements, as I mentioned, work from home, telecommuting. So it's a role of HR to come up with a proper schedule to cater for this kind of work arrangement, especially in the current phase, current time that we are facing. Okay, same goes to things like training and development. Yeah, in the current situation, we notice that you have to restructure certain jobs. You have to even the organization itself. We notice that during crisis, you have to deploy people with a certain skill set to fix the problems or to be able to help the organization to overcome the crisis. So reskilling is upskilling is another area you may need to consider. You have to prepare for that. And for that, your employee database need to be updated all the time. So this is what you need to do. And above all this, what I would like to highlight here is, the psychological well-being, work-life balance, and employee engagement during this crisis time. This is where HR need to come in, because as you know, in current situation, people lost their jobs. Many of them ended up in depression because of isolation, because of, because they don't have jobs to earn money, to feed their family. So we have heard a lot of suicide cases and all those things, so HR, you cannot say, well, I also cannot help. This is the current situation we have to face. No, that's not the answer. We have to be responsible and think about ways how we can give this kind of psychological support to these people. And finally, the talent and succession planning. This is another area we need to look into, because during the crisis time, when you lay off the people, when people leave either voluntarily or involuntarily, you got to think about your company, the survival of the company in the future. So losing the key talents can be a troublesome for us. So think about ways how we can address this issue. All right. So, and finally, I would just like to share some of the crisis models that we usually use in HR, and to basically to prepare ourselves to face the what we call the situation which we describe as a crisis. So the one usually we refer, the famous one is from Mitrov and Jacques. So if you see, there are various stages, but when you group them, it can be under 3 stages: pre-crisis, crisis, and post-crisis. So this is just some additional info for you. So look into all these areas. The message here is you have to prepare yourself for the crisis, although it is unexpected things, but it's not an excuse to say that, well, we never expected this. No, crisis preparedness is very, very important, and you have a plan in place. And for that, you need to put in the right people to manage, to take the lead when it comes to crisis. And you deploy your crisis management team to execute the crisis management plan. So for that, my concluding remark is HR, you have a very, very important role to play here, to work closely with the management of the organization to navigate successfully during the time of crisis. So with that, I would like to end my my speech here. And once again, thank you so much for the organizing committee for the invitation, and thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it was our keynote speaker of the day in this International HR Summit 2021, Associated Professor Dr. Subramaniam Sri Ramalu from the University Utara, Malaysia. So now we are moving into the speech by the guest of honor of the day. Professor Hanuman Prasad, Faculty of Management Studies, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Rajasthan, India. Professor Hanuman Prasad is the Director and Chairman of the Faculty of Management Studies, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Udaipur. In addition, he is also the course director of MBA e-Business program, which was initiated by his vision. He is the coordinator of the Entrepreneurship Development Cell of the university as well. Recently, the professor has been conferred the Best Business Academic of the Year 2019 and received a silver medal in annual conference of Indian Commerce Association held in Bhubaneswar. He is the member of a number of prestigious academic bodies, editorial boards and councils, academic councils, board of studies as well. He is a member of editorial board of Annamalai International Journal of Business Studies and Research. He is the chief editor of the prestigious Journal of Faculty of Management Studies, Udaipur Prabandh. He has completed a major research project on financial literacy and poverty, a study of Southern Rajasthan funded by UGC New Delhi. He has 45 research papers to his credit. He is also the author of the book titled Quality Management Practices in Financial Institutions of Rajasthan, published by Lambert Academic Publish, Germany 2014, and review editor of a book titled Sectoral Reforms in India, published by the Regal Publications, New Delhi 2009. He has presented 18 papers in international conferences, including abroad presentations, and 35 papers in national ones. Under his regime, he has given new dimensions to Faculty of Management Studies with his motto of smiling. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Hanuman Prasad, Faculty of Management Studies, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Rajasthan, India, to address the gathering.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you. A very good morning to one and all. Dr. Nabila Jandari, Head of the Department, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Nilanthi De Silva, the first female Vice Chancellor of the University, Tarang Fernando, the Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, keynote speaker of today's session, Dr. Subramaniam ji, Joint Secretary of this HR Summit, Rushna Reena ji, Organizing Committee members, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me bring onto the notice of all the present here that this HR Summit 2021, which is on the title HRM in Crisis Times, would pave the path for the HR practitioners to design their policies, their practices, as this HR Summit has been witnessed by two most affected discipline peoples. One, our Honorable Vice Chancellor from the Medical Sciences. Another, the galaxy of HR practitioners, galaxy of HR academicians. And I believe that these two disciplines have been the most affected one as far as the physical or mental trauma is concerned. They have to face, they have to cure such kind of traumas. As the medical science has contributed a lot in the front line, being in the front line, the HR discipline people have cured mentally the people, and therefore I believe that the conclusions which will be derived by this conclave, this summit, is going to give path to the world for reshaping their HR practices. Much has already been discussed by our keynote speaker, but here I am reminded of one book which I read, and I believe it is mentioned in that book only, Why Man Lies and Woman Cries. That is by Ellen Barber. And in that book, while reading, I could find somewhere that man has few words speaking ability, female has more words speaking ability. But in the economies where females are not allowed to go outside, are not allowed to work freely, particularly the traditional economies, you'd find that a lot of family disputes, a lot of family fights are found in such economies, such families. The reason is this, that I wish to focus here is that a person's speaking nature has to do something, has impact on mental wellness, and therefore that should also be taken care of by the HR practitioners. I would be focusing on few challenges which are faced by HR people in post-pandemic. I should not say right now it is post-pandemic, but that will be faced by them in the post-pandemic situation. As it has already been rightly discussed by our keynote speaker, that crisis may be of any nature, but let me tell you that this crisis is above all the crisis as far as the HR practices are concerned. So I would say that this COVID period, this COVID crisis, this COVID-19 can be categorized into three S categories. One was the strike period. Another is stay period, and we are at present in stay period actually. And let's hope for the succeed period. I believe that as far as the challenges which are there in strike and stay period, if we try to overcome with these strike and stay period, that is good for HR practices. But if we continue with the practices which we have followed in strike and stay period, in succeed period also, then what will happen to the job opportunities? What will happen to the mental wellness of the people? So therefore, in challenges, I would be taking first issue is mental health and well-being. You can see that this COVID time has given n number of examples wherein people had stress, anxiety, and mental health issues. Now here, we have to see that how HR professionals can reduce this stress, anxiety, and mental health issues by organizing maybe virtual talks, or maybe counseling them virtually, whatever is possible. So we have to look at this. the new norm, which is remote work. How can we manage this remote work? Because this work from home, we have been giving our students homework, and we never expected that work from home would take over this. And this work from home has reduced employee engagement. How can we overcome with that? How can we control the productivity? How can we motivate the productivity of people? How can we take real-time updates? How can we take immediate responses from our people so that we can work on it? We need to find out the solutions for that. Moreover, lack of agility you will also see. That means ability of HR to respond quickly and effectively to the changes and challenges of business requirements. And therefore, this agility is going to be an issue, because everything which you want to do in your organization, HR function, that needs approval of your bosses, that needs approval of the concern, and that approval is to be taken as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it will slow down the process. It will slow down the action taking task. That is also required. Another thing which I could see, which may pose a challenge to HR professionals, is employee communication. What is the right channel for, what is the right working channel for work from home? That also is to be identified. You need to train your staff to use this kind of channel. I'm reminded of the times when COVID struck and lockdown was announced in India. And as lockdown was announced, it was said that please go ahead with the online teaching. And particularly of my university, I could find that 60-70% staff was like that they were not used to using these variety of working channels. So maybe some features are different with Zoom, some features are different with Google Meet. So it was difficult for them. So it was like, you're thrown in the water and you are asked to swim like that. So therefore you have to, and the same was the condition with the students also. So the similar kind of situation may exist in organizations also, and HR has to find out the appropriate means of communication. Above this all, the uncertainty lying in the mind of people is also going to affect the productivity. People are mentally affected. What will be their future? They know that by this online medium, work from home medium, now there will be a lot of people applying for the job. So what about their job? How would you give them certainty that if you are working well, your job will not be snatched? What about the work environment? What about their career? What about the job certainty? This all we have to look into. And as I have, and our previous speaker has already spoken, that is employee engagement. And every organization, productivity is very important, and that is ultimate for a company. And in absence of employee engagement, getting productivity is a challenge. And therefore, how can we have the system of employee engagement? That also we have to plan. So therefore, in conclusion, I would say that we have to redefine the HR practices. particularly, I would say that maybe 2-3 months more. I think our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who is from the medical discipline, can estimate better that maybe 3-4 months after this vaccine reaches everybody, we would be overcoming with the problem of COVID-19, and therefore, after COVID-19, if it ends in 2-3 months post-COVID, what HR practices may prevail? We have to understand that also. Maybe this work from home, the first maybe that this work from home becomes a new normal. And if it becomes a new normal, in that case, you will have a bundle of applications for a job. As you know, everybody is applicable. Maybe you may get good quality of people, but what will happen to the people residing in your area? And as I am aware of recent regulation which has come up in one of the state of India, that the companies who are employing people, I mean, particularly it was in Haryana, I think, that legislation has been passed, that the industries who are existing in that state boundary, they have to employ 75% of local people below the managerial grade. If such kind of regulations come up, then how would we deal with as far as the HR policies are concerned? Then another thing which I see is resurgence of gig economy, which means flexible, temporary, freelance job, contract job. There will be flood of that kind of things through online platforms in the market. And how do we deal with that? Then another thing which I see is this, that emphasis on employee social safety. How can we incorporate such kind of things? And increased use of artificial intelligence, which has already been quoted by Nilanthi madam, that AI would take place. And if such kind of practices, which I mean 3-4 points which I have spoken, if such kind of practices exist, what would be our strategy? What would be our strategy to go ahead? With these words, I would like once again to congratulate and thank the organizers, the Academic Galaxy, for giving time, inviting me in this International HR Summit 2021 on HRM in crisis times. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it was our guest of honor of the day in this International HR Summit 2021, Professor Hanuman Prasad, Faculty of Management Studies, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Rajasthan, India. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for your valuable thoughts, insights, and everything in this International HR Summit 2021. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to move into one of the most looked forward to and one of the most awaited events in this International HR Summit 2021. So stay with us and we'll be back with the panel discussion.
We envision bringing about the HR academic intelligentsia, HR professional circles, HR policymakers, HR postgraduate and undergraduate students together in solidarity to ponder, debate, strategize, and act on the important dilemmas of HRM that would be impeccably contributive and determinative on future HRM. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the International HR Summit 2021, HRM in Times of Crisis.
Dr. Mrs. P.G.D. Pradeepa Serasinghe, Acting Director General, SLEDA, Additional Secretary, Public Administration, Ministry of Public Service, Provincial Council and Local Government. Dr. Pradeepa Serasinghe obtained her PhD from the Postgraduate Institute of Archaeology, University of Birmingham, UK. She obtained her Bachelor's of Arts degree in Mass Communication from University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. And also, she obtained her Bachelor of Science degree in Biology from University of Peradeniya. Dr. Pradeepa Serasinghe specialized in heritage management, public management, governance, ethics, values, and standards of public service. She also a council member for Intangible Cultural Heritage Center for Asia Pacific region and former alternative country director for Asia Productivity Organization. Mr. Johan Hewagama, CEO, co-founder of C-Suite HR Private Limited, London, UK. Mr. Johan Hewagama is a London-based tech and HR tech entrepreneur with end-to-end HR value chain experience with more than a decade-long senior management experience with Unilever at the local, regional, and global levels. His recent tech and HR tech advancements and innovations are intended to impact individuals, organizations, and society positively. Mr. Johan Hewagama has embarked on a journey to create a strategic impact on the human resource management function by integrating advanced technologies and data-driven insights into HR domain areas.
Mr. Priyankara Pereira, Group Head of IT of MJF Group, Dilma. Mr. Priyankara Pereira has obtained his Master of Business Administration from Staffordshire University in UK. He has also obtained the associate degree from the BSc Chartered Institute of IT. Moreover, he holds license and certifications in relation to the IT from well-recognized local and foreign institutions. In addition to that, he possesses more than 22 years of experience in varied technology leadership roles with a proven track record of digital transformation expertise across multiple verticals such as financial, telecom, healthcare, FMCG, retail, and plantation. Possessing vast depth of technical, managerial, and commercial experience leading multidisciplinary teams with a proven ability to identify and solve
complex business problems to improve efficiency, productivity, and business competitiveness.
Mr. Sunet Kotutanna, Vice President, Supply Chain, Analytical Instruments Private Limited. Mr. Sunet Kotutanna obtained his MBA from University of Colombo and obtained his bachelor's degree in production engineering from University of Peradeniya. Further, he is qualified in ACMA, CIMA, UK. Mr. Sunet is an operations management and supply chain professional with over 17 years of industry experience. He has extensive experience in working in manufacturing environments and has led manufacturing operations in 2 large corporates in Sri Lanka. He has experience in sales and operations planning, production operations, manufacturing excellence, engineering project management, as well as people management.
The official media sponsor, EBC. Official sponsor for the gold medal offer for the outstanding performer of the year, AIA Insurance. Official sponsor for the gold medal offer for the highest GPA holder of the year, CIPM, the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management.
Very good morning and warmly welcome you to the panel discussion of International HR Summit 2021. We are again strive to build up on the nexus between academia and the industry together to strengthen our bond. So I believe this is a high time for us to have a dialogue like this, combining both private and public sector leading personalities here today within our HR Summit, because I believe now in Sri Lanka, as well as in a global economy, we know what was the impact due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And nowadays, we see that we are striving to go for a post-pandemic situation, right? So with the overall vaccinations going on within global context, as well as in Sri Lankan context. So I believe it's kind of a transition that we are in, but that does not necessarily say that we do not need to reflect on the lessons that we have learned during the hard time that we had in this pandemic situation due to COVID-19. So in today's discussion, so we are striving to look into how has it been actually, and what were the lessons learned, and also what would be the future when you have had a lot of experience and exposure in terms of let's say reflecting and how you're facing in a crisis situation in terms of managing people as well as operation. So I believe we have a right combination here with the industry experts and also the public sector representatives, as well as we have resource persons who are having the foreign exposure as well. So without further delay, let me first physically introduce you our panelists. So first and foremost, we have Dr. Mrs. Pradeepa Serasinghe. She is the Director General Acting, Sri Lanka Institute of Development Administration, which is well known as LIDA, as well as the Additional Secretary, Public Administration, Ministry of Public Service, Provincial Councils and Local Government. And next we have Mr. Sunet Kotutanna, Vice President, Supply Chain, Analytical Instruments Private Limited. And also we have Mr. Priyanka Pereira, Group Head of IT, MJF Group. So when you say Dilma, you will know it better. And also, not at least, and we have Mr. Johan Hevagaman. Hi, Johan, who is the CEO, co-founder of Texa Private Limited, who is joining us from United Kingdom. So thank you very much for joining here today to this platform. I believe within the next few half an hour or 40 minutes would be, and let's say, a kind of an eye-opener and also insightful session for all of us. And first and foremost, let me pose this question to Dr. Pradeepa. So Dr. Pradeepa, we know in the public sector, specifically the government actually has taken a wide array array of actions and steps to alleviate the bad effects or the negative effects of pandemic situation within our country. And it is quite applaudable, the actions that they have taken. And because of that, I believe we are in a good situation today to manage our work in the private as well as the public sector. But I believe it was not as easy as it seemed like, because in the public sector, the perception that we have is that we have too much of rules and regulations, policies, let's say red tape and bureaucracy and all that. So how did you manage? I mean, how did the public sector battle against this pandemic situation? And how was it challengeable?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I have to say that even the Lord Buddha said, unchange is the only changeable thing in the world. For public sector also, we have to face continuous changes throughout 2000 years. Even though the people from Western countries used to say that public sector management started soon after the first industrial revolution, actually the public sector in Sri Lanka started 2000 years ago. Our inscriptional evidence are clearly saying the details about it. Introducing the alphabet is the first step, first change the public sector of Sri Lanka faced. Thereafter, many changes. However, the first public administration circular was established even 1000 years ago. Therefore, from that up to now, there were plenty of circulars, rules, and regulations in the public sector. With such a background, as crystal clearly said by the first speaker of this forum, role of HRM in times of crisis is basically, he pointed out few things as crisis communication, policies, guidelines, SPOs, and process management, compensation practices, performance management, alternative work arrangements, employee database, training and development, psychological well-being, and talent and succession plans also. In facing these challenges, in early 2002, in January or February, there were many challenges we had to face, and if I say some of them, unorganized raw data. We had many data, but not for face to a challenge like this. For that unorganized raw data, through a public sector circular, 2021, Minister of Public Administration introduced a circular which clearly saying that weekly progress reports from district level and from divisional level also, we are a Google form on each Tuesday. We started to collect those data in 2020 March onwards. We started that Google Forms, utilize Google Forms to collect data and to avoid information duplication and replications. We told them to decide. Them means luckily in Sri Lanka we have a very strong network from grassroots level to top managerial level. At the grassroots level, we have our field officers who are responsible to divisional secretaries. Our divisional secretaries are responsible to the district secretaries. District secretaries are responsible to the Ministry of Public Administration and Home Affairs those days. And Minister of Public Administration is responsible to represent the issues, HR issues in public sector. Therefore, there were many duplications and triplications. Then we decided to nominate one contact person from each district secretariat. Then with any crisis situation, we cannot hide from fake rumors. Therefore, a committee established to bridge Department of Information and Regional Administration to give the first-hand details and real details to the general public to avoid that unnecessary panic situations due to COVID situation. Limited facilities for field officers were there. Even though most of the people don't know properly, our field officers did a remarkable job with many unexpected crisis situations. Actually, they had to face to many unavoidable situations when they deal with the people who were severely vulnerable at the grassroots level. And food limitations at the very first stage of this crisis situation throughout the country, there was a curfew situation. Many of you know about it. Most of you know about it. Therefore, reimbursement on expenditures of those field officers, those things happen after they face the problems and after the field officers tackle the problems. Then food limitations were there, agricultural activities established even in each and every public office, official premises, and continuation of services at regional administration. Even though many people didn't know, throughout 24 hours, all the divisional secretariats, all the district secretariats were open those days at the very first stage of this pandemic situation. Not only those people, even the people from the health professionals and security professionals were combined to establish that COVID prevention task force. Through that COVID prevention task force was activated throughout 24 hours those days. Still it is continuing, but now they are meeting weekly those days. Daily they meet each other to make remarkable decisions in the public sector. The last, within this few minutes, the last challenge I have to highlight is work from home. We introduced through a public sector, it's not a circular from the public administration ministry, it's from the presidential secretariat. They introduced, that is the first time we started to work from home. Those days, we didn't have any pre-arrangements to work like that, because you all know hard copy is the most trustful thing for public sector. All the files are in hard copies. Those days it was a real challenge, but with time passed, now we are adapting for the work from home situation also. We utilize IT solutions. Now we have utilized the technology for that work from home situation also. Still we are in the process. I'm not saying that the public sector did a remarkable job without any mistake. There were many mistakes, but with those mistakes, we could learn a lot, and we did learn a lot, and we are continuing the things we are providing for the general public of the country.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Pradeepa. So I believe, as you rightly said, so the communication, the right communication and the utilization of technology as well as networking far more alleviate the effects, even though whatever the structure that you have within the organization, I believe that is the key to manage anything or everything given the circumstances. Right. So with that, let me move on to Sunet. Well, Sunet, let's say within your background, I believe you have a vast array of experience and exposure in manufacturing, supply chain, and operations as well. So let me pose you this question, because during the pandemic situation, we know the manufacturing sector, I mean, even though that we have the isolation policies and, health sector specifying that, yes, you need to make sure that those things are adhered properly so that there won't be that unnecessary burden on the society. But as a manufacturing organization, for the manufacturing, it might have been really hard because you need your people there for the manufacturing process. So let's say within this the COVID-19 period, so what were the structural changes or that demanded the continue the manufacturing process of the company, and let's say how these structural changes impacted towards people management?
I think I'll sort of set a context in terms of the challenges that some of these industries face. I think I've listened to some of the presentations as well as whatever has been shared over the last couple of months in social media, etc. And we talk a lot about working from home. We talk about new ways of working. But I think what we also need to understand is that the more, let's say, people start working from home and adopting different lifestyles, it also puts a lot of pressure on other industries. For example, people who used to go to the shop and buy their stuff now gets it delivered. So now there's an additional challenge on logistics and supply chain to get stuff to people's houses. So, and that's not something that, you can sort of automate or get, we don't have that kind of technology. And this is even at a global scale. Right now, there is a shortage in, shipping vessels from China to parts of Asia because there's a huge amount of shipments going into the US because people are ordering stuff to work from home, with its computers, to exercise bicycles, to everything. So there's a ripple effect that happens when one part of some industry starts working from home. There is another industry that will have to now take an extra step in terms of logistics to get it out. So like I said, for example, the organization that I am in, we are in part of the healthcare business. We provide equipment and consumables to hospitals. 80% of our service is to the government sector. And it's an essential service to run the laboratories. So like you said, there are things like, for example, in manufacturing, in supply chain, physical goods means that you really can't have the luxury of working from home. There are certain roles that you can work remotely, but certain roles you really have to be there. So one of the things that I saw organizations across, including my company, as well as some of the manufacturing organizations that I know of, I think segregation of work to minimize the risk. Because what happens is, in a normal work environment, you will have people mixing around, and we will sort of encourage people to socialize at all points of time. But that then brings out a risk element. So for example, in the organization that I work in, we have a sales team that works with all the hospitals in the country, right? And I have a sort of a delivery staff that goes to all the hospitals. At least once in 2 weeks, they will visit all hospitals in Sri Lanka. And these are high risk areas because, you have people coming in, the health sector is usually the forefront of the risk in a health crisis. So we had to take certain measures to sort of prevent or minimize the risk. So as I said, the job demands you to go out there. There's no other way to get that delivery to that hospital. The best we can do is to ensure that that individual is protected, plus ensure that that individual does not bring in that risk to office or the company. Because if that happens, then there are 300 plus individuals who then get open to risk. So I think the first thing that we did was to look at sort of a risk segregation in terms of the job segregation based on risk. The second, I think, structural change that I saw a lot of companies take is that this is probably a more of a short-term thing, that, certain individuals who used to do, they do tasks in terms of where they have a lot of documentation, etc., that was required. And like I think Madam here said, because our customer base is the public sector, so you really can't send an invoice on email. That you need that document, you need the signature, you need the seal. So that's part of the industry. What we did was that we looked at segregation or sort of changing some of the roles so that not everybody needed to be coming to office to handle documents. So we had to sort of certain individuals taking on a role of coordinating on behalf of the rest of the team. So on one end we have the customers where we need certain documents because it's public sector, and then we have because we handle a lot of imports, etc. There's a lot of the customs process, etc. is also a very document based industry. So that's the second one in terms of managing the the tasks. So that not everybody needs to be in office. Somebody can come on behalf of the team and do all the documenting work that they have to do. The third one, of course, is the adaptation of technology. Now, this doesn't come easily, especially like even in the private sector, not everybody is tech savvy, especially when you have to use systems And I think like ERP solutions and trying to use an ERP solution from a home network can be very challenging because not all homes are equipped with high-speed broadband services. And there's a lot of data. I'm sure my colleague here probably would have more experience from an IT background, but it is a reality that somebody living in a remote part of even in Colombo or with a mobile network trying to log on to an ERP solution is very challenging. But we looked at whatever the possibility in terms of infrastructure that needed to be provided so that people could minimize the need to come to work. So those are some of the changes that we've done. And I think most of the organizations in the manufacturing and supply chain industry have adopted similar changes.
Right. Thank you, Sunet. So I believe that technology is key. So that was said by Priyanka, I believe. So whatever the supply chain or the operations that we have, so adaptation of technology would be the key. So with that, I'll be moving on to Priyanka. So with your experience and let's say exposure and all that in the IT industry, so it's your role might have been the most important in this COVID-19 era. And I believe in your viewpoint, as you had wide experience in other industries also, how was the readiness of the private sector for these digital transformation requirements during this COVID-19 pandemic?
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me for the panel. I would say answering directly to your questions, I haven't seen most of people were ready during the first phase of a pandemic and the lockdown. So if I talk about our industry and the company and the group, so we were thinking digital as a key driver and enabler in our business. So we were used to use maximum way of and utilizing the technology in wherever we pitch in. And that was the mindset. So I think the challenge here is the leadership. So leadership should understand the effectiveness and importance of the digital. And then you have to have the plan. So digital transformation won't happen overnight. So you have to have a proper plan and then execute step by steps, and you will get to the point that where you want to get to, right? So the most important thing is you need a start. That is a tough ask because you need to communicate back to your board of directors and the management and get their buying is a difficult ask. And you need to communicate digital in very simple and layman terms to the digital, the top tier. So then once you get their buying, so then you have to have the people and the culture of driving digital strategy towards the objective that you're looking at. So in that case, I think we were almost ready, right? So we had only one problem we were facing was the people who were using desktop, right? Other than that, we were ready. So we had a title saying that we were driving work from anywhere using any device. That was the culture that we want to harness from the day one. So we worked towards that and everything was implemented accordingly. And I'm a great believer in cloud technologies, right? So we were totally out from on-prem data center mentality. And so we entire thing connected from cloud. And people were experiencing work from home and using their laptops and other devices, tabs, and all sort of form factors they were using before. But only challenge I have seen, our sales force couldn't go out there and do their normal sales. So because of the lockdown, right? And the other technological challenge was the desktop, right? So then we had to find a way out for that, right? So, but those two were the challenge that we saw in our company and the group. But other than that, I have seen most of the companies struggle a lot, because their preparedness was zero or minimum for that. And no one was expected COVID before, no one was experienced COVID before, right? So I think COVID taught us a lot. So it's still not too late. So if you can start from somewhere, you can do a lot with the technology, because if you think about technology today, you can do wonders with the technology. But it's about the culture and the intention of fixing company problems using technology. You have to have that mindset. So when you have a growth mindset like that, solving company or business problem using technology, you will definitely get to the point where you will have a seamless situation in any crisis. Right. So that's what I believe. And most important thing is, and also you have to have the leadership who understand your strategy. And also you have to have a team who is believing our overall strategy in driving digital. So digital is key. There's no way you can function without digital. So I think it's believing in that and start in a small step and thinking big and drive slowly. So that's the only way. I don't think you will see or you can live without COVID in near soon or near future.
Yes, very much agree with you, Priyanka. So we have moved from operations to technology. From technology, we are moving on to the leadership and leadership endorsement and teamwork as well. So it's great things that are coming out from our panelists today. So now we'll be moving on to Johan. Yes, Johan, so hi from here again, and thank you for joining us from UK. And so I will directly pose this question because with the pandemic and digitalization and all this, so this came up, telecommuting, working from home. So for us in the Asian context, so let's say for us, basically, it is a kind of a novel concept. So it was there, but it was not to this extent. But I believe in your context, it's not that like that. I believe it has had very hard roots there. So it is well established in your context. So please just tell us how well established is this concept, as well as what are the other initiatives taken by private sector or as the government to better manage people?
Thank you. Thanks for connecting me. It's early morning here in London. So so the good thing is I was privy to kind of, practices in Sri Lanka as well as here, because I'm based here, but I work with a team in Sri Lanka, as well as I work as a consultant to a couple of companies in Sri Lanka. So I kind of understand the context in terms of both sides. I want to kind of break it down to two parts. One is around organizational readiness, something that Sunet and Priyanka were talking about. Organizational readiness towards virtual working, whether it's about adaptation of digital, as well as kind of, how geared the entire, organization is. So that's one aspect of it. And the other side is, kind of what you call, developed world problems in terms of once you have the readiness in place, when people are ready to use it, and there are kind of ripple effects of, when you are there, kind of breakdowns in terms of, some of the speakers earlier were talking about well-being and things like that. So let me break it down to two parts. So first around readiness, I think when I compare developed and developing, probably the infrastructure readiness and other, so there's probably, if you look at the likes of UK or kind of Europe or kind of West or any developing country, probably main difference is a lot of the times this entire infrastructure and the readiness is there. So when you talk about readiness, what I'm referring to is first thing is around infrastructure and the entire ecosystem. Connectivity. So if you look at, if you compare numbers, you can see in the UK itself, high-speed broadband, kind of about 95% of households have high-speed broadband. So what you are necessarily talking about is everyone who's remotely working from home, or there's a new concept called working from anywhere, right? So it's a latest gig concept. Whatever you call it, everyone being able to connect. And at some point in the UK itself, about 70% of workforce, despite of whether the industry, 70% of the workforce were working from home. Probably lowest into, as Sunet was saying, lowest probably in the kind of sectors of manufacturing, retail, and things like that. And retail were open here, unlike probably in Sri Lanka. So retail, if you talk at like say kind of things like supermarkets and things like that were kind of open throughout, so they were working. So that sector was probably around 10%, but like other sectors were as high as 70%. But even if you look at post COVID, we are expecting that to have around some industries to forever work from home or work from anywhere, up to about 53%. So if you look at information technology and the kinds of work that you can operate, probably Priyanka would kind of witness to this. They can operate from anywhere. So 53%. So So that entire readiness to work from home, work from anywhere is there. And the other aspect which I have experienced myself, I've been in Unilever for a long time. So I was fortunate to be in Unilever where even at that time, I'm talking about, I mean, Sunat, we were together, so about 10, 12 years back. Unilever Sri Lanka was, having working from home. Even today they do. So they were kind of one day working from home. So some of the organizations were much evolved. But here, that practice was well established. And the entire, I think the main difference I see is the entire mindset of how you look at, work from home or work from. So there's a mindset as well as the discipline. So I see the initial speakers, the keynote speakers, also they were talking about, is the productivity going to go down when everyone is working from home? But the entire concept has really evolved in the West, where you actually have much rigorous metrics to measure productivity. I mean, I actually do productivity consulting. So I mean, you don't really look at productivity in the lens of number of hours put in. You actually look at the output. You look at the human capital productivity as a kind of output metrics, as a kind of a input metric. So that concept is really evolved. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in, it's about the productivity of the work that you deliver. So it's slightly, so the culture is evolved, and also digital skills. So that if you look at the entire digital strategy of the UK government, they've kind of, deploy a digital strategy, well established, upskilling people. So there's one part of also around skills. So there is one around infrastructure ecosystem, one around skills, one around culture. And also in terms of entire, support system, where Sunit was talking about the ripple effects that other, other industries would have, whether it's about deliveries, home deliveries, or kind of, all the other ecosystems. So entire thing is geared. So if you look at developed world, the readiness was there, and they're kind of they're improving it. But the bigger problem the West had, where the developed countries had, was around the entire thing around, well-being. So if you go back to Deloitte Human Capital Trends, we go back to 2020, you can see well-being and belongingness as two most important things that were highlighted by Deloitte, their Human Capital Trends 2020. Compared to that, the organized readiness was very low. So it was at high 70s, readiness was about low 30s. So there's a huge gap in terms of well-being, belongingness, and versus the readiness of the organization, and it has become a problem. So the entire focus today is around how do you manage this remote working, entire employee population? How do you manage their well-being? There are mental breakdowns. How do you improve mental resilience, and also belongingness? You're actually speaking to a computer, right? Like me. All alone in a room, speaking to a computer, and the entire day you keep doing it. And what's the effectiveness of your productivity and entire mood and things like that. I think if you really kind of summarize, the readiness was there, but I think there are bigger impacts around the ways of working and the kind of productivity in terms of resilience and well-being. So.
Right. Thank you very much, Johan, for your detailed description and also educating us on how the changes in UK has enabled them to better manage the technology and also to face the pandemic situation we face. Well, we are sorry to say that the time is actually coming to an end, but we had a lot of, let's say, questions in mind to discuss, but I hope we will be able to, continue this dialogue with you, our eminent panelists in future as well. So well, it's kind of a sorry for me as well, because there were a lot that I wanted to ask from you all. So, and again, I thank you all for being here today and for sharing your valuable insights. I know that so it's been quite hard, very busy schedules that you have these days due to these situations as well. So I mean, having 1 day off means I believe there is a lot that you have to work on. So thank you very much for being here today. So, and to appreciate your presence here today, so we have arranged a small token of appreciations as well. So to do the honors of presenting these token of appreciation, first and foremost, I call upon Professor Prasadini Gamage to present this token of appreciation to Dr. Mrs. Pradeepa Serasinghe, Director General Acting, Sri Lanka Institute of Development Administration, SLEDA, and Additional Secretary, Public Administration, Ministry of Public Service, Provincial Council and Local Government. Thank you very much, ma'am. And next, to present the token of appreciation to Mr. Sunet Kotutanna, Vice President, Supply Chain Analytical Instruments Private Limited, I cordially invite Dr. Indumithi Valmiller, Senior Lecturer of the Department of Human Resource Management, to come forward. Thank you very much. And to do the honors of presenting the next token of appreciation to Mr. Priyanka Pereira, a Group Head of IT, MJF Group, I cordially invite Ms. Vindhya Sangarandaniya, Senior Lecturer of the Department of Human Resource Management. Right, thank you very much, our dear panelists, and also Johan, you are not forgotten. Thank you very much. We will be arranging a digital gift pack for you in due course, or else if you're visiting us. And also thank you very much for, I mean, it's around 4 a.m. in the morning, I believe, in UK. So thank you very much for joining with us, for your presence, and also for your commitment, as also for helping us and partnering with us through UConnect. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today on the panel discussion. So I believe in future also through the International HR Summit organized by the Department of Human Resource Management, University of Kelaniya, please expect for the novel contributions to HR education in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
The thoughts and the insights about the challenges and the strategies will take you through a journey to rethink about the HRM in times of crisis. This is the International HR Summit 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the International HR Summit 2021, HRM in times of crisis. The official media sponsor, EBC. Official sponsor for the gold medal offer for the outstanding performer of the year, AIA Insurance. Official sponsor for the gold medal offer for the highest GPA holder of the year, CIPM, the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management.
Green entrepreneurship is the activities which intentionally addresses the environmental and social problems and needs and further coming up with brilliant, innovative, entrepreneurial ideas that will bring a solution to them. Under the undergraduate caucus, we will move into another timely value-added project done by HRM undergraduates. Let us present you the project Earth Ambassadors promoting the green entrepreneurs done by the second year undergraduates of the Department of Human Resource Management. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the second year students of the Department of Human Resource Management.
The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. Break the green barrier in your life.
Refuse what you do not need. Reduce what you do need. Reuse what you consume. And recycle what you cannot reduce, refuse, or reuse.
We don't have to engage in grand heroic actions to participate in change. Small acts when multiplied by millions of people can transform the world.
Therefore, the HEAD Student Association of University of Kelaniya is organizing the Earth Ambassador Eco-Friendly Product Awareness Project.
To support and encourage eco-friendly entrepreneurs in all over Sri Lanka, let's bring green revolution together.
If you are an eco-friendly product entrepreneur, contact us via WhatsApp or email. We will help you to bring your products closer to the world.
COVID-19 has disrupted billions of lives, endangered the global economy, recorded the broadest collapse in per capita income since 1870. Simply, this is the deepest global recession since World War II. We are likely to cost $9 trillion to the global economy within the next couple of years, and a global loss of the equivalent of 400 million jobs. 60 million more will be pushed into extreme poverty. Hunger and famine will reach historic proportions. To build back greener from the unprecedented impacts of COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown, we, the HEAD Students Association of University of Kelaniya, organized the Earth Ambassador, the eco-friendly product awareness project, to encourage and support the eco-friendly entrepreneurs all over Sri Lanka. The primary objective of this project is to motivate and encourage local eco-friendly entrepreneurs to take up the task of reviving the collapsed Sri Lankan economy in the face of COVID-19 epidemic, and to motivate the Sri Lankan community to purchase these eco-friendly products. We also aim to reach out green entrepreneurs who are striving self-empowered by providing free promotional campaigns on social media networks, and to bring their products closer to the consumer community. And last but not least, to promote and support to create Made in Sri Lanka economic structure in future.
Progress is impossible without change, and those who can't change their minds can't change anything. The world is moving towards an eco-friendly environment that consists of products that are not harmful in their production, use or disposal. In COVID-19 pandemic, especially Sri Lankan eco-friendly entrepreneurs are slowly reducing their production. Hence, they need the support and awareness of the importance of using eco-friendly products with a sustainable lifestyle. Therefore, the Earth Ambassadors project about eco-friendly products was started as a step to motivate people and to encourage the entrepreneurs. As the first step of our project, we started to find grain entrepreneurs scattered all over Sri Lanka and informed them about our project. Many grain entrepreneurs voluntarily joined to our project. Almost all of them shared each and every bit of information about their eco-friendly business with us. We shared information about their eco-friendly business and products through creative videos and posts on social media networks including Facebook and WhatsApp. As well as we organized an eco-entrepreneurship webinar program to help these entrepreneurs get the business advice they need and to solve any business issues they have regarding their business.
ලැබෙන ආයතනයේ සමාරම්භක සභාපති හිමියතුමා එයා කිව්වා මගේ පුතාට ගෙදර පරිභෝජනය කරන්න නොහැකි කිසිම බිස්කට් එකක් මම ගේට්ටුවෙන් එහාට යවන්න එපා. බලන්න ඉතින් කොච්චර සාරධර්ම කොච්චර වටිනාකමක් ඔහුගේ ඔළුවේ තියෙන.
Through this project, we were able to inform the entire community about the many local entrepreneurs in the country, and also we were able to motivate our eco-entrepreneurs through this project. We are very pleased that we were able to contribute to the mission of the local economy with Made in Sri Lanka green products.
People are expressing an appetite for a change. Change is upon us. We can choose to see it as frightening and incapacitating, or we can embrace the opportunities and move forward with hope towards a more sustainable world. We saw an opportunity to change the mindset of people towards sustainable greener future by accelerating and reinforcing their views on green sustainability. We are at a turning point. One small change can add up to much bigger ones if everyone made one small change that could be millions of changes at the end. We are very pleased that we were able to successfully complete our project, and we are proud to promote the brand made in Sri Lanka all over the world. We are also delightful that we were able to connect and support to our own entrepreneurs who are forced to rebuild the collapsing Sri Lankan economy. And finally, we would like to thank all who lended their supporting hand to make this project a grand success.
This is Gishan Ranavira for the team Ale Jewelry. If you remember the logo, this is what we're doing. Eco-friendly wood-based wooden jewelries. So the reason I'm taking this video is to thank all of the students, the Head Student Association, Department of HR Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya. I was surprised seeing it. Like, nobody does something like that without asking for any monetary value. You did it all for free with great honor and friendship, and I believe that's something not everyone can do. Something like that is priceless. We can't value it with the monetary values. You've been editing all the videos by yourself, you've been making all the flyers by yourself, and promoting them on your Facebook page, and like there were hundreds of shares, thousands of views, hundreds of comments, and it was a great privilege that you gave us to perform like that. So it's my great honor to give my regards on behalf of our team. Thanks so much. I hope you'll be doing great in the future as well.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it was our second year undergraduates of the Department of Human Resource Management. And thank you so much. It was such a beautiful contribution to this time HR Summit 2021. So like we said earlier, we are working through the theme of HRM in times of crisis. We know that it has created so many challenges and changes for every single one of us. So when it comes to education, the traditional and the physical mode of education has completely shifted to this virtual setting, where it facilitates to setting a schedule that fits for everyone's agenda. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the first year undergraduates, the fresh blood to the Department of Human Resource Management. They have done a beautiful project to this time's International HR Summit, focusing on to explore the experiences, advantages, disadvantages that they have obtained during this pandemic situation. So please welcome the first year undergraduates of the Department of Human Resource Management, University of Kelaniya.
A very good morning to all of you. We warmly welcome you all to the webinar on online education organized by the first year undergraduates of Higher Sparkle University. To talk about this timely topic, today we have two guest speakers with us. First person is Dr. Dilma Herad, a senior lecturer from the Department of Human Resource Management in the Higher Sparkle University. Other person is Mr. Kavisha Ravishka, a first-year undergraduate who studies at the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies in the University of Higher Sparkle. With this COVID-19 pandemic, What happened to us? Everything around us changed. All of us were locked inside our houses. What happened to the system of education with this COVID-19 pandemic? System of education was shifted towards virtual platforms. What happened with this shift? Let's see.
The COVID-19 or the coronavirus pandemic is an ongoing global pandemic of an infectious disease called coronavirus disease 2019 that was first reported in December 2019 in Wuhan, China, and has spread worldwide since then. The global pandemic shut the world down. Our daily lives changed. Workplaces emptied. Business shifted. People stayed indoors. One of the things that also rapidly changed was higher education. Universities closed doors and began having lectures and exams online. As a student, somehow we struggled with distance learning, even though many thought that it gave them the freedom they needed. But what does online education actually mean? Online education is a form of education which is delivered and administered using the internet. Online education allows you to study whatever you want, so you can do easily it from home, at the local cafeteria, or even at a library. Online learning can save a huge amount of money because there aren't any mobility costs, and online programs are much cheaper than the ones you need to attend physically. Also, when studying from a distance, you can plan according to your personal schedule, decide what is more effective for you, and develop time management skills which are essential for your career. Little or no face-to-face interaction, increasing eyesight problems, frequent headaches, increasing anxiety, and the depression along with the sleeping disorders are some of the disadvantages or negative effects of online education. Is online education really effective? Let's discuss.
So, Dr. Dilma, as a lecturer, how did all these changes affect you? How did you manage all these things?
First, I would like to thank you, Nilakshi, for inviting me to this webinar. So, as a full-time lecturer, I have taught in many different classrooms. But this online learning is completely different than this face-to-face learning environment. We have challenged a lot because of the one reason was online lecturing turn a student into passive rather than active participant. So who is unable to adjust their knowledge with real-time practical experiences. So it was a very big challenge. And then another thing was in online classroom, students feel more disconnected with lecturers and even with their peers. So it was more challengeable for us to maintain their mindset. So after that, collaboration of the students, because it motivates and encourages their willingness and desirability to continue their degree throughout these 4 years. But unfortunately, we couldn't make that because of a pandemic like this. They were separated and they were not together as students. So, but as a nation, we had to stand because this is the time they are investing for their life and for the nation as well as a student. First thing, we received a very positive result out of them because of the challenges we made. We could get the best result. So one thing is, it increases the number of participants who come into lectures and exams. In the past, it was just about 65%. Now it is over 95% to 100%. So it really motivates us to do our job really well. Another thing was when we wanted to adjust their knowledge with practical experiences, we change our syllabus according to the practical way. so they can gain more knowledge. So after that, we could turn introvert people into more practical and very talkative position, because students who shy to talk will easily change into this position where they fearlessly talk and ask questions from us. Then, so as overall, I think this online platform was a win-win solution for students and for lecturers as well, because we also could maintain our work-life balance. So I think it is so advantageous period.
Thank you, Dr. Dilma. Mr. Kavisha, you are a first-year undergraduate. How did these changes affect you, and how did you manage all these things?
Thank you, Anuradha. At first, I should mention that we have missed the real university life where we interact with a lot of friends and activities. Also, I had a dream to be captain of university cricket team, but with the situation, I feel like it will be a dream forever. And also, with the online learning system, we face so many difficulties of finding devices. Connection issues made our online learning platforms terrible. As an undergraduate, I am sitting in front of the computer screen for hours. Now I was ended up being using spectacles. Despite some difficulties, I would also like to point out that it has obvious advantages too. Online education gives chance to attend class from anywhere with a few seconds. Additionally, online lecture can be recorded, archived, and shared for future references. This allows us to access the learning material at the time of our comfort. Another advantage of online learning is reduction of financial expenses, such as cost of transportation, accommodation cost, and so on. Further, we were able to more familiar to deal with technology, which is essential for the success of our future career through online learning. Finally, based on my opinion, I think online learning is effective and it helps us to continue with our academic life during this pandemic.
Thank you, Mr. Kavisha. So after considering all these facts and opinions provided by Dr. Dilma, a senior lecturer who was conducting her lectures through online platforms during this COVID-19 pandemic period, and Mr. Kavisha, a student who was studying through these online platforms in this COVID-19 period, we can clearly see that there are both positives and negatives in online education. But positives outweigh negatives. Online education was a blessing for us. If online education system was not there at that time, we will never be able to be in the position that we are here today. So Dr. Dilma and Mr. Kavisha, thank you for your valuable participation in this event and also for sharing your valuable thoughts and experiences on online education. Stay safe and have a great day. Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, it was our first year undergraduates of the Department of Human Resource Management, University of Kelaniya. Next in line is to present the best undergraduate researchers of the Department of Human Resource Management. 15 students will be awarded the Best Research Certificate Award for the effort which they have given for their final year research.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this time the Best Research Certificate Award goes to HPETS Abhiratna, HLE Ethipa, PHP Krishnanta,
KDP Kalya, BLALS Lienarachi, PHP MT Rimana,
ASS Minusha, HRDS Patisare, BMK Pereira,
B Rajapaksha, SMS Ranasinghe, SP Ranasinghe,
WANM Senaratne, ND Vikramasinghe, and finally WDS Anushanta.
Industry-based learning designed to offer the opportunities for students to gain valuable experience in professional workplace environment. So this is the high time to appreciate the industry partners who opened up their gates by providing internship opportunities to our students and to award certificate to final year undergraduates who have successfully completed their internship period.
HPDTS Abhiratna and PVW Madhumali, supervised by Ms. DPAND Pereira, Deputy Superintendent at Central Bank of Sri Lanka. NAPM Amarajiva, supervised by Mr. SMSK Senaviratna, Senior Manager, HR and Administration at Hydramani Mercury Apparel Private Limited. BMAI Basnayaka and LPJR Samendra, supervised by Ms. Samya Karnaratna, HR Executive at Esquel Sri Lanka Limited. HLPD Silva, supervised by Mr. IR Pereira, the owner at Reality Homes. JS Dias, supervised by Ms. Imani Pereira, Head of Learning and Development at John Keels Holdings PLC. SS Dilshani, supervised by Ms. ARAN Ranarajage, Accountant at Central Bank of Sri Lanka. PHP Dushmanta, KCM Ranavira, and VAKK Hansika, supervised by Mr. WMMA Vijayatunga, Group HR and Administration Manager at Tilakavardhana Group of Company. MND Fernando, supervised by Mr. Pubudu Disanayaka, Assistant Manager Human Resources at DP Logistics Private Limited. IS Gajavira, supervised by Mr. Sanoj Chaminda, Assistant Manager HR at Ansel Lanka Private Limited. DHA Gunavardhana, supervised by Mr. Lakshan Faldano, Head of HR at Idea Group of Limited.
TP Habaragamuwa, supervised by Mr. Asela Ratnayaka, Manager Human Resources and Administration at Cable Solutions Private Limited. DGC Hansamali, supervised by Mr. Rehan Pereira, Manager Talents and HR Operations at Morrisons PLC. NAS Jayalat, supervised by Ms. Hasini Patiranage, Deputy Manager at Citizens Development Business Finance PLC. SKAT Jayamali, supervised by Mr. RM KTSB Rajanayaka, Chartered Accountant Partner at TR Associates. MMW Jayavira, supervised by Ms. WMIK Abhiratna, Assistant General Manager Administration at Regional Development Bank. PDJ Jivanti, supervised by Mr. Mahesh Dharmasena, HR Manager Employee Practices at South Asia Gateway Terminals Private Limited. KDP Kaushalya, supervised by Ms. Ashani Verulapitia, Senior HR Executive at Ansel Lanka Private Limited. MRMU Kumari, supervised by Mr. Sandaru Dakshita Dimil, Manager Finance at Sanasa General Insurance Private Limited. RTB Libera, WANM Senaratna, supervised by Mr. HDHI Amarabantu, HR Executive at Answer Textile Lanka Private Limited. BLALS Leonarachi, supervised by Ms. Ayanti Kulasekara, HR Manager at Sadahartha Plantations Group of Companies.
MOK Madhumage, supervised by Ms. Surandika Senabiratna, Group HR Manager at Ideal Group of Companies. WGS Madhava, supervised by Ms. Arandhi Amarasinghe, HR Manager at McLaren's Holdings. RPS Madhurangi, supervised by Mr. Sumit Amarasinghe, HR Manager at Cooperative Insurance Company Limited. DMC Madhushani, PHNS Ranavira, supervised by Ms. DT Vijay Tilaka, Manager, Head Office at People's Bank. THP Madhushani, supervised by Mr. KMTB Alahakon, Executive Training and Development at Camso Lodestar Training Center. A. Sachini Malsha, supervised by Mr. D.P. Priyantha, Managing Director at Sevitech Engineering and Construction Private Limited. ULSA Mandakini, supervised by Mr. M.P.A. Pereira, Executive Officer at Commercial Bank of Ceylon, PLC. ASS Vinosha, supervised by Ms. KNNA Kumarasinghe, HR Executive at Dipped Products, PLC. LAS Navanjana, supervised by Ms. Gayanka Gunawardana, Manager, Talent Engagement and Development at Brandix Apparel Solutions Limited. SWAWMD Nayantara, supervised by Mr. M.P.A. Pereira, Executive Officer, Human Resources at Commercial Bank of Ceylon, PLC.
NJON Nilavala, supervised by Mr. Buddhika Liyanage, Accountant, Finance and Accounts at Diesel and Motor Engineering PLC. ISM Nizat, supervised by Mr. Pujita Vijayaratna, ICT and Administration Manager at MAS Capital Private Limited. HRDS Padmasiri, supervised by Ms. A.N. Nilikama, Assistant Human Resource Manager at Samson Rubber Industries Private Limited. SK Pallavela, supervised by Mr. Hiran Manjit, Senior Human Resource Manager at Hydramani Net Vatrugama. IP Pathiranagamage, supervised by Mr. D.Z. Kumara, Assistant Human Resource Manager at Swiss Tech Ceylon PLC. DFK Pereira, SP Ranasinghe, and ND Vikramasinghe, supervised by Mr. Sanjeeva Bonekabahu, Head of HR and Administration at Fintrix Finance Limited. M. J.C. Pereira, supervised by Ms. Thilini Ratnayaka, Human Resource Executive at Ansel Lanka Private Limited. P.K.S. Prabodha, supervised by Mr. H.S. Kimbe Hettige, Manager, Thalgaswala Branch, People's Bank. GHAM Priyadarshini, supervised by Mr. KASI Kumarapeli, Manager, Kalania Branch, People's Bank. GP Pushpa Kumara, supervised by Mr. Brinsley Peter, Human Resource Manager at Sunpower Constructions, Private Limited.
BP Rajapaksha, supervised by Mr. Udita Karunaratna, Human Resource Manager at Siat Kalani International Tires Private Limited. HMK Rajapaksha, supervised by Ms. Madhubhani Sandalika, Human Resource Business Partner at Maida Safety Private Limited. GP Ramanayaka, supervised by Mr. R.G. Tushanta, Human Resource Manager at Sumitra Garments. C.D. Ranasinghe, supervised by Mr. Samir Jaisekara, Human Resource Manager at Kalani Cables PLC. S.N.S. Ranasinghe, supervised by Ms. Chanuka Gunawardana, Human Resource Manager at Dialog Asiata PLC. RAST Samanmali, supervised by Ms. Piyumali Veerakon, Manager HR at Micronet Global Services Private Limited. BVS Sanjeevani, supervised by Mr. S.S. Galapati, Executive HR and Administration at DSI Private Limited. W.N. Sanjeevani and S.C. Sriyani, supervised by Ms. Kirutika Ashokamitran, Accountant at Central Bank of Sri Lanka. R.N. Senanayaka, supervised by Mr. Thandu Chaminda, Junior Executive Officer at Commercial Bank of Ceylon, PLC. HWPU Shashi Prabha, supervised by Mr. W.A.R.I. Vijay Head of HR at J.A. Vimalasuri Opticians.
JGLS Viduranga, supervised by Mr. Dileepa Dhananjaya, HR Manager at Unideal Packaging Private Limited. ASD Veeraman, supervised by Ms. Menaka Vipulasena, Deputy Manager HR at Maida Safety Private Limited. TL Lashodhara, supervised by Ms. Mangalika Veerasinghe, Chief Manager Human Resource Development at Regional Development Bank Head Office. EMSC Bandara, supervised by SAN Sandamali, HR Executive at TNS Buttons Lanka Private Limited. WDF Anushanta, supervised by Mr. Hashini Nadishani, Finance Manager at Virtusa Private Limited. UN Dilrukshi, supervised by Mr. Prasad Ratnayaka, HR Partner at Keels Outlet Tire Junction.
Industry-based learning is designed to offer the opportunity for students to gain valuable experience in a professional workplace environment. Therefore, we as the Department of Human Resource Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies of University of Kelaniya appreciate your great support. Thank you very much for the great platform provided by your prestigious organization for our undergraduates to obtain industry exposure through industrial placement, which has been seen to be useful preparation for the professional career of a management graduate. Thank you very much, and we look forward to receiving your support in the future as well.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving into one of the most awaited discussions in this time's International HR Summit 2021. The Diploma of Human Resource Management by the Department of Human Resource Management has held a discussion with the Deputy Director Administration, SSP W.A. Ajit Rohana, simultaneously to the HR Summit 2021.
This is Higher Diploma in HRM, the Department of Human Resource Management. The discussion on crisis, COVID-19 and personal management of organization from the University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka.
We are here today for the discussion at International Human Resource Summit held by Department of Human Resource Management, University of Kelaniya. The discussion today will be on the topic of crisis, the global pandemic, COVID-19 and human resource management. We are here with us our head of department, Dr. M.P.N. Janadari.
Thank you, Vilasha. So once again, actually, as the head of the Department of Human Resource Management, I would like to express my sincere gratitude towards the DIG Ajit Rohana.
Coordinator of Higher Diploma in Human Resource Management, Senior Lecturer Ms. Niroshika Durudarshini. The discussion will be conducted by Dilasha and Omar on behalf of Higher Diploma in Human Resource Management. It is a great pleasure to introduce our guest for today's topic. He is the police spokesperson, attorney at law, Deputy Inspector General, Mr. Ajit Rohana. Sir, my first question is, what do you think about this crisis, COVID-19 infection, and how it affects the business organization?
We imposed the quarantine curfew on the 18th of March 2020. Once we impose curfew means a restriction of public movements. Then, on one hand, the persons cannot move, so they have to stay at home. They have to stay their dwellings. They have to stay at their residencies. They cannot go. But on the other hand, the shops, markets, all the other institutions, so they should be closed. So therefore, on one hand, public movements are restricted, but on the other hand, the institutions, the supermarkets, the shops, everything is closed. Then there are no customers, there are no productions, so no one is going to manufacture anything. So therefore, it is directly affected to the business community. No businesses, no money, no any activity.
As you think, what could be the reasons of failing some organizations during this period?
The World Health Organization issued various health guidelines. They published health norms and customs. So, especially, it was emphasized 4 things. What they said was cleaning hands all the times, constantly, with soap or any other sanitizer. A system should be provided for the employees to wash their hands constantly. That is number 1. So number 2, monitoring the body temperature. So number 3, respecting the concept of social distancing, at least 1 meter or more than 1 meter between 2 individuals. And number 4, face mask concept. And apart from that, number 5, so if you are sick or if you are having symptoms in respect of COVID-19, so you should divulge it. You should reveal it immediately and get the support of the health services. In Sri Lanka, at the first wave, we observed that many institutions, they followed those guidelines, rules, regulations, norms and health customs. But at the second wave, so they did not adhere with such instructions. So that is the main problem that we have identified in spreading a pandemic throughout the country.
Sir, you have told about the failings of organizations. So when we are focusing on the quarantine law, specifically, what are the rules and limitations imposed on managing COVID-19 in organizations?
So we have been using the legal concept of quarantine and prevention of diseases ordinance. And accordingly, the health minister or the minister in charge of health has been empowered by the ordinance to make rules, regulations in order to control COVID-19 or any disease in the nature of pandemic. Accordingly, we published a Gazette notification on the 15th of October 2020, soon after the second wave, and we have given several guidelines, rules, regulations to be adhered by the general public. So this is the Gazette notification that was published on the 15th of October 2020. Then the other thing is the Gazette notification has informed the public and private institutions to follow certain guidelines, rules and regulations. So the number one, hand washing facility. Number two, face mask. Number three, social distancing. So number four, when you are entering the premises, so you have to deploy somebody to monitor the body temperature. And number five, within that particular premises, building, every time administrators or the supervisors, they should respect the concept of social distancing. And apart from that, so time to time, at least 4 times or 5 times a day, a system should be created to monitor the body temperature of the employees. So those are the things that we have inserted into the Gazette notification. And in addition to that, certain guidelines have been given to the owners of customer centers, then supermarkets, factories, and apart from that, some guidelines have been given to the drivers, the conductors, the assistants, or the owners of the bus companies, private buses, public transportation. So those are the laws that we have enacted in respect of COVID-19.
So, what are the challenges that the police department face when implementing these COVID rules and for the organizations?
We had faced various types of challenges. So the challenge number one is 99% of the general public, so they adhere with quarantine rules and regulations and they obey with instructions, but 1%, so they don't obey with the orders given by the police or the health authorities, and they move here and there. That is number one challenge we face. So we were compelled to arrest them. We were compelled to enforce the law in respect of them. So that is number one. So number two, we faced the challenge that we face is we made constant announcement to the general public that so if you are having symptoms of this disease or suspected symptoms, so all the times contact the nearest police station, contact the PHI, contact the 119 center or the relevant health centers. We gave telephone numbers. You should not go to any place. You should not go to the hospital, because if you go there, so sometimes the people in the vicinity, so they should be quarantined. So therefore, stay at home, inform. But many people, they did not divulge the things, symptoms, and sometimes they went to private hospitals and they were not. They had hidden the disease and the symptoms. Then after that, when it is revealed, we took action to quarantine the whole ward, and sometimes the doctors, the medical staff. Then that was the second problem that we were facing, and the third problem was fake news.
As you mentioned that you are compliant to taking actions for the people who are violate this quarantine law. Is there any actions of rules violated by organizations?
Yes, if it is an institution, so if that particular health rules have not been followed by that particular institution, the supervisor or the owner or the administrator of that particular institution is liable. So we filed charges against them. In the Western Province, since the 10th of January 2021 to date, we inspected approximately 12,000 government and non-governmental institutions. Out of that, it was found 1,400 institutions had not followed quarantine rules and regulations. So we have filed cases against the administrators or the supervisors or the owners of such institutions under the provisions of the Quarantine Act.
Final and last question. As your experience and knowledge on this crisis, do you think post-COVID reviews are needed to an organization?
Yes, obviously. So not only today, not only tomorrow, but continuously. There should be a process to review the requirement in respect of an organization.
Thank you very much, dear Ajit Rohana, for your precious time. Even with a very short notice, you have accepted our invitation. It is a prestige for the University of Kelaniya as well as for the Higher Diploma in Human Resource Management too. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it was such a valuable contribution from DIGWA, Ajit Rohana, simultaneously to this time's International HR Summit. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable thoughts, contributions in this time's International HR Summit.
With the passage of the time, we have come to the border of International HR Summit 2021. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Rushna Preena, the Secretary, International HR Summit 2021, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to each and every one of you. Chief Guest, Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, the Vice Chancellor, University of Kelaniya, Dr. Narada Fernando, Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, Associate Professor Dr. Subramanian Sri Ramalu, the keynote speaker of the International HR Summit 2021, Professor Dr. Hanuman Prasad, Guest of Honor, International HR Summit 2021, eminent panel members, deans and directors of the University of Kelaniya, heads of the department, academic and non-academic staff, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned in previous speeches, the International HR Summit 2021 was conducted today under the theme HRM in Times of Crisis, and we are now about to bring it to a close. And it is my privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks as the Joint Secretary to each and every one of you to express our gratitude on behalf of the HR Summit Committee. We had been very fortunate to have your presence in this event, and I'm sure that all of you are largely benefited from participating in this International HR Summit 2021. First and foremost, I would like to express my respectful gratitude to Senior Professor Nilanthi De Silva, the Vice Chancellor, University of Kelaniya, for gracing this occasion as the chief guest. We are very much honored to have you today. I also wish to express my gratitude to the Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, Dr. P.N.D. Fernando, not only for his participation, but also for his extended support to make this event a success. Next, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the deans, directors, heads and lecturers of the University of Kelaniya and other universities who have participated in this event. It is a great strength for us. I should also extend our gratitude to the Associate Professor Dr. Subramanian Sri Ramalu, the keynote speaker of the event, for the very insightful and thought-provoking keynote address. Thank you so much, Professor, for your generosity in sharing the wealth of knowledge with us. I also extend our deep sense of appreciation to Professor Dr. Hanuman Prasad, Guest of Honor of the International HR Summit 2021, for accepting our invitation and delivering a very insightful speech. I convey a special thanks to our eminent panelist of the panel discussion, Dr. Pradeepa Serasinghe, Director General Acting SLEDA, and Additional Secretary, Public Administration, Ministry of Public Service, Provincial Council and Local Government, Mr. Sunet Kotutanna, Vice President, Supply Chain Analytical Instruments Private Limited, Mr. Priyankara Pereira, Group Head of IT, MJF Group, and Mr. Johan Hevagama, CEO and the co-founder of C-Suite HR Private Limited and Tex Private Limited UK, for accepting our invitation without having a second thought and despite of their busy schedule. Thank you very much for enlightening this event by sharing your experience and thoughts. Also, a special thank goes to the moderator of the event, Ms. Menaka Nishanti, Senior Lecturer of the Department of Human Resource Management as well. This HR Summit will not be a success without the guidance and encouragement of the Chair of the International HR Summit 2021 and the Head of the Department of Human Resource Management, Dr. M.P.N. Janaderi. Thank you, Madam, for initiating this event and for the enormous faith bestowed in the committee. Next, I extend my thanks to the co-chair of the International HR Summit 2021, Dr. Prabhashini Vijayawantha, for her enormous and continuous cooperation from beginning to till this moment, and also for her generous guidance. Also, I take this opportunity to thank the Joint Secretary of the event, Mr. Tarindu Veerasinghe, Treasurer, Ms. Virangi Mendis, and the project conveners, Ms. Madhavi Gunasekara and Ms. Edward Rebecca, for their hard work. Next, I would like to express my sincere thanks and humble gratitude to all the members of the HRM department for their numerous and invaluable contribution to this event. I also express our gratitude to all the undergraduates, postgraduates, and diploma students for their contribution. Also, I should not forget the efforts of the non-academic staff too. They supported us in numerous ways, and we will not be able to make this event a success without their efforts. Well, ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. We started planning months ago. It requires precise planning, and we were very fortunate to be backed by a team of very motivated, committed, and dedicated members who did their job to the utmost best. My dear colleagues of the working committee, a big thank goes to all of you. I must convey special thanks to the Center of Brand Image Development of the University of Kelaniya and Dr. D.M.R. Disanayake, the director of the center, for providing us with the souvenirs for the panelists and distinguished special guests. Further, I express my sincere appreciation to the official media sponsor, the EBC Limited, media stations, Swan Wahini, EFM, and Run FM, who partnered with us today and for their media coverage. Not only that, distinguished guests, colleagues, well-wishers, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all of you for accepting our invitation and joining us today in the International HR Summit 2021. Your support and wishes will undoubtedly take us towards a more excited future. Last but not least, I express my gratitude to each and every individual who contributed in numerous ways to the success of this event. I apologize for being unable to mention your name, as this vote of thanks will continue for hours then. Thank you very much all. Have a great day. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this time's International HR Summit 2021, which is organized by the Department of Human Resource Management of Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya. So we believe that we could able to walk you through the theme of HRM in times of crisis, and we could able to bring some valuable insights, thoughts by different individuals, personalities, especially from the industry and everywhere. So thank you so much for joining with us in this time's International HR Summit. And one more reminder for you all, after this HR Summit, we will also have the online career fair powered by SIA. So ladies and gentlemen, please raise for the national anthem.
Namo Open my